The views expressed in this presentation are those of the host and guests and do not represent the views of any lodge, Grand Lodge, appended body, or any other person or persons whomsoever.
Brethren, we are at Refreshment.
I'll sit in the corner and look cool and be like, what up? That's me.
I don't want to talk about you either, Marty, but here we are.
Just because my style isn't death.
I truly regret this already.
I regret this.
The 10 of your faithful press.
Oh man, it is great. I can feel this.
That's assuming anybody even watches the podcast.
Yeah. The 5 minutes that I watched, I really did enjoy it.
Welcome everybody to the At Refreshment Masonic Video Podcast. I'm your host Wesley Reuter, and I'm here with Marty.
Hello.
And our special guest. So please, everyone, welcome.
Name is Companion Derrik Helfer, most illustrious Grand Master of the Cryptic Council of Cryptic Masons of the state of Illinois.
Well, thank you for coming on the show today. Sure. Appreciate it very much. So, you're the head honcho of council here in Illinois, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes,
How's that going?
So far, so good. It's my year's about half over now, but it's been a whirlwind. It's you think about this for I've been in line now 6 or 7 years. And you think about all these things you want to do, and now half of it's over. And it's like, there's still all this stuff I want to get done in this next 6 months. So far, so good. It's been a pleasure.
Never enough time in the day to do everything.
There really isn't. You write all this stuff down, and then you start looking it over, like, haven't done this, haven't done that. Oh, I finally finished it.
Right, no different than home, right?
Exactly. Like the honeydew list. So, but no, it's been very good, very good. And I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show.
Thank you for coming out. We appreciate having you and all that. So. We're recording.
Podcast?
Yeah.
Want to join?
Does it show all the way back in the back here?
Yeah.
What do you need to do? Box this stuff up?
I was just brought this up to the table. Gold.
I'll take care of that.
All right.
Well, I can edit you up.
Yes. I can sit back here out of sight and just listen, right?
Yeah, you should be in.
Actually, even if there is a stray Rich Carnell just looming out, that's even better.
Yeah, that's fine. Maybe I'll just leave this in too. So, why council?
So, going through the York Rite degrees, and I fell in love with them. I'm a member of the Scottish Rite, Valley of Springfield, and love the Scottish Rite. A lot of great work that's done over there, but then I got into York Rite Masonry, and I just fell in love with it. And the council degrees, I like those. Number one, I like the color purple. And
Looks good on it.
well, thank you very much. And then just listening to the words, they're very short degrees, but the words that we do in these degrees are just beautiful. It's some of the most beautiful language you'll find in all of Freemasonry. At least I found thus far. And I said, this is what I want to do. And found some companions down where I'm from that were really into it, and so started getting my feet wet, and then all of a sudden I had the opportunity to join the Grand Council. So,
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's been a great ride so far.
Cool. So, all right, joining the Grand Council. I completely agree with you. I can see why you get engrossed in the council work because it's like everything you do in masonry. A lot of it doesn't make sense to the council degrees. You're like, oh, that's why that is okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
But joining the Grand Council. Who made you do it? Who put you up to it? Who told you? Who finally told you that this is going to be the next 7 years of your life? There's always somebody.
So in this case, it came about pretty quick. Stuart Everly, who was the most illustrious Grand Master right before me, he was looking for somebody, and he was actually talking to a companion, Matt Stoltz, who's a lot of people know him in Decatur. He does some fantastic work, and they were asking him, and he said, well, he's got some family commitments. He really didn't really want to do it right then. So he said, hey, Derrik, are you interested in doing the Grand Council? I'm like, Grand Council? What does that do? I've only been a council member for maybe 2 years.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Really?
Yeah, it was very quick. And he said, hey, are you interested in doing this? And I said, yeah, I would give it a shot. I'm still having no idea what this actually meant. And then Stuart came up to me and he's like, hey, do you want to do this? I'm like, I don't really know what it involves, but sure, I'll give it a shot. Next thing you know, we went to grand sessions. They go for the vote. I was the only person up. So,
Well, that helps.
so I didn't have to run against anybody. And next thing you know, they told me, hey, you're at the bottom of the line. You're the purple bottom. So that's how I got into it.
I would like to advise everyone at home to not Google the phrase purple bottom. Nothing good will come of that.
Hey, I got to be the purple bottom for 2 years. So when I first joined the line, it was a 7-year line, starting at the steward and then making your way up. And then the next year they decided to realign with the chapter and the commandery to make it a 6-year line.
That makes sense.
So I went from the steward to the marshal and was still the purple bottom. So I got to be the purple bottom for 2 years.
You gotta start somewhere, right?
You think they would give you a special pin or something, but I didn't get it.
So, and that was your first time attending the Grand Council session and everything?
That was the first time for me. Yep.
Man.
So, no, and I've really enjoyed it. You know, I didn't really know what I was getting into, and then the most illustrious Grand Master at that time was Larry Ragland was going in as the Grand Master. And he came up to me, he was like, well, start saving some money, start planning out your calendar 3 years in advance, and listen to everything I have to tell you. I'm like, okay. So it's been a good ride. I've enjoyed it.
Well, that works. Really works. So you're up here today because I don't want to say started a new council, but how would you put it, Marty?
Reinvigorated the current classic council and DuPage council.
Yeah.
So have you done that before other than today?
This is a first. So there's a lot of small councils out there that are struggling and trying to get membership, and DuPage was kind of in the same boat. And this unique opportunity came up because when I was first talking to Marty, they were actually talking about taking a defunct council that went out a number of years back and reviving that one. And so we started that process, and then Rich Carnell came along and said, hey guys, we have a council that's right in the area that you want to set up. And we're struggling with our membership. Why don't you guys join us, move into your area, and breathe new life into it? So that's what we've been doing, working with Marty, and it's been great so far. It's required some dispensations and some hard work behind the scenes.
Only a phone booth worth of dispensations.
Some hard work behind the scenes, but it's so far as of today, it was a great turnout.
Yeah.
I saw more companions here today than I've seen in certain places, so it was great to see the enthusiasm.
Yeah, the council is some of my favorite degrees, and they're very instructive on how Masonry works or what came about it after the third.
It really does, and it really completes that story of the preservation of the word. The entire Masonic journey is about the word and what it means, and the building of temples. And so I think if you take the council out of that, you miss a huge gap that's in that story that helps explain it. So no, it's like I said, I might be a little biased because I'm in the Grand Council, but
I would hope you could be too. So,
but no, it's some of the best, the wording, just the wording alone, some of the best wording that you'll ever find.
excellent. So, with the state being so big, how many councils are there?
I think now we're probably somewhere around 40 councils. We lost one last year, so whatever number we are, we're one less. And that was another reason that we wanted to reinvigorate this council. I would hate to have to bring back a council and then just take another one out just because you get. Yeah, exactly. They're just so it's better to take a council that wants to survive and says, hey, look, why don't you guys take over ownership? That way they can still be members if they choose to be, and they can let you guys run with it. Yeah. So no, it was a great idea.
Cool. How many times have you done this since you've been Thrice Illustrious?
So now we've done probably 5 or 6 times that I've got to go to councils and do degree work. Some cases I was in Peoria a couple of weeks ago, and I just got to sit, and that was fun. I just got to sit and watch other people do the work, and that's when I have the most fun. And it doesn't matter if that person knows all the ritual or they have to pull out their book and read something. As long as they're trying, they're getting out there, they're spending the time away from their families to try to impress the candidate as best they can. That's what it's all about.
You said the right thing to impress the candidate.
That's all it's about.
And it is, because sometimes there's a lot better rituals than me. There's a lot better people. There's people that are very good at stuff, but at the end of the day, if you're not still looking at it from, did the candidate have fun? Was there almost a good customer service experience? Yes, what is that?
And I learned that from the Knights Templar. And when they come out and do their inspections, I believe it was I don't remember the exact Grand Master at the time, the Grand Commander at the time. It may have been Rush Sloser, to tell you the truth. But when you circle up at the very beginning, he just said, hey, look, it's all about the candidate. It doesn't matter if we come in and we do the best work there is or we completely stink. The whole thing that you keep in the back of your mind is, hey, just make it impressive. If you forget part of your ritual, maybe you make something up. Just keep going with it. And if you need to ask for a word, ask for a word. But again, it's all about the candidate. It's not about yourself. It's not about your ego. It gets checked at the door. It's all about the candidate that day. So I just kind of keep that in mind everywhere I go. And like I said, I'm willing to help where I can. But if somebody says, hey, we want to do the work, we want you to sit. Okay, fine with me.
It works.
Yeah.
So how long were you in the fraternity before you decided to join council, and how long after that did you decide to get in the Grand Line for council?
I've only been a Mason since 2012.
Hey, same with me.
I was raised the day after Christmas, the 26th, in 2012.
Oh, you beat me by a couple of weeks. That's about it.
And
I was August 2012, so this
Were you
is
really?
funnier, yeah.
so became a Mason at the end of 2012. Going into 2013, in the spring reunion, I joined the Scottish Rite at the Valley of Springfield. Really enjoyed the Scottish Rite. There's a whole bunch of degrees.
That same year, 2012.
That same. Well, 2012 was almost over.
Okay.
Because it was December 26th.
Oh, okay. I'm
That's
sorry.
pretty cool. I almost joined one day before St. John the Evangelist.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
So I joined. So I got raised on the 26th of December, and then at the spring reunion, in this case 2013, I joined the Valley of Springfield.
Okay. Yeah, I joined actually in January of 2012.
Did you really?
Yeah, I want to say it was the 7th or 9th, something like that. It's pretty neat.
And I really enjoyed it. And then I think around the summer of 2013, I joined Decatur Council and the York Rite in Decatur. At that time, Matt Stoltz was kind of one of my main mentors at the time, because again, Decatur Council and our York Rite bodies there were very tiny. There were only 4 or 5 active members. So when I first joined, I'm not even sure we got to open. We were sitting out in the foyer just because we didn't have enough people to open. And slowly but surely, we started to climb up. And then, right after that, I think, again, because we only had 3 or 4 people, I was one of the Deus officers right away, just because out of necessity. And then my first Deus office in New York Rite was TIO. So that's how I got into the council. And like I said, soon after that, that's when Grand Council came up, and it wasn't very long after that I joined the line.
So what struck you about council to make you move forward?
I like the underdog. If you think about it, if you talk to numerous Masons, they're going to tell you that council is always that side one that you don't have to join, but if you want to hear the story, you join. And I didn't like that.
Oh, God, that irks the crap.
It does. And I said, you know what? If I can make a change, if I can just change one person's mind, then I'm doing the right thing. So, like I said, I fell in love with the degrees. I love the wording in them. And then I'd like to kind of be in the underdog, saying, hey, look, if you don't want to join us, don't join us. But if you do, man, you're going to get so much more out of it. And there's so many different things you can do in Cryptic Masonry. And so that's when I decided, this is what I want to do. The chapter's always been very strong. They do a lot of great fundraising. They do a lot of great events. Commandery, Commandery's more, again, this is my opinion, more into the ritual. They have their own charities and things that they do, but theirs is more about the ritual, the order of the temple. And then you have this one that's kind of just squashed in the middle, that's council. And and it's one of those things where people say, well, I'll join that if I have time. And I'd really like to get that message out there. So no, join us. There's a lot of things that we can do here. We have a great philanthropy. We can do a lot of great stuff. You just have to spend the time and come in and see what we have to offer. So my year as TI as the the most illustrious Grand Master, that's really what I'm trying to preach. Just have fun with it. I don't care I want people to open. I want people to, even if they have to use their books, I don't care. It's not like I'm gonna go back and say, hey, we're pulling these guys as a charter because they have to use a book. It doesn't matter. I'd rather have people get up there, try, have fun with it, and then again, that's what I saw today. It's that enthusiasm that keeps me going. and that's what I'm hoping to bring back.
Yeah, we are a bit of a unique bunch with
No, that was fun.
with how we do things.
Unique.
Yeah, I'm putting it nicely for everyone out there, or anybody that was here today and sees this. So.
Well, a lot of guys that are here, our active chapter guys, really haven't given council the proper time it deserved.
Yeah. I mean, everyone here I've sat in council with before.
When we got our degrees, it never got.
Yeah.
It sucked. It's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And but we're going those steps. And today really was good.
It was great to see the most excellent Grand High Priest here, Patrick Robin. I've enjoyed my.
It was great.
But I've enjoyed my time working with Patrick. Patrick's been great, and it was great having him here. Jerry Starks, one of the best ritualists, maybe the best ritualist next to Rich Carnell in all of Illinois. So you guys definitely had some great people here today. And if I can help, the little bit that I did, just to help out. So
excellent. So, in your opinion, do you think every Freemason should join council?
I think they should. Again, you got to be of the right frame of mind of what do you want out of this. Freemasonry is supposed to be about the search for light, and if that's really what your goal is, then join the council. I want you here. If you just want another lapel pin, or you just want something else, a badge to put on the back of your car that says I'm a member of the council, yeah, I mean that's fine too. But really, what I believe all Masons should be is the search for light. And there's so much light that you can get out of the council. Just the 2 degrees, and then if you add in that super excellent master, there's a whole story behind that one too that kind of feeds in to everything else. So, that's really what you want to get out of it.
Like a tad bit personally for me, every time I watch a degree, I always end up trying to latch onto something new.
Yeah.
And when we were doing today, which we did 8 and 9, and that's the selecting the royal. One thing that kind of really hit me was how current it all felt. And I'm not, doing spoilers or giving anything away, but
sure.
Recently Elon Musk was on one of his weird conversations where he was talking about how many civilizations were lost because they never made interplanetary things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, thinking. I'm thinking like how he's like, well, we got to put some humanity on Mars just in case things pop off wrong here. Yeah. And then I'm thinking of how they kept the word in the vault, and I was like, holy crap.
Exactly.
This is years apart in theory, maybe the story, maybe sounds real, something. I don't know. But you're thinking, you're like, wow, this is one of those ideas that is always carried on. And it's relevant in life today. If we don't set up these space stations and this thing goes wrong, what happens?
No, it's very true. You throughout Masonry, you get these messages, and again, most of these messages have been around for many, many years, hundreds of years. Some of them we say since time immemorial, because none of us really know when they actually started, where they all actually came from. Right. But the messages, again, if you listen to the words and you really think about it, a lot of the themes in Freemasonry, the themes that we're dealing with now, today, bigotry, racism, all that stuff all those negative things that exist. Freemasonry in some way, shape, or form addresses those things and says, you know what? There are no differences. We're all the same. You're a Master Mason. Everybody meets on the same level. Doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. Doesn't matter what deity you worship. You're all on the same level. And to me, that's the beauty of Freemasonry.
So, tell us a little bit about the charities that go along with council here in Illinois.
Sure. The main charity that we support is actually a homegrown charity that we call the Nurses Scholarship Foundation. And what we do is we raise money through selling these calendars. And it's not about the calendar, it's more of a raffle. And you pay $20 and you get a number.
What do you say, it's a calendar for tax purposes?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I have to say, for like $20, I'm like, it's going to be a nice calendar, and I see this big vanilla sheet, and I'm like, $20 for that? What?
Yeah, so don't think about it as
wait, what happened here?
So don't think about it, you're getting a yearly calendar. You could use it for that purpose, but the whole thing behind it is it should be, unless there's a leap year, 365 days in a year. And each day has a dollar amount that you can win. So we make 999 calendars, 001 through 999, and that corresponds to the daily lotto from the Illinois. And so whatever number comes up that day, if that's your number, then you win whatever amount of money is on that day. And the minimum amount you win is $19, $20, so you pretty much get your money back. And then you can win multiple times. So if your number comes up again, you win whatever that amount is. it. So the first time I played this, my wife and I bought one and she bought one. Mine came up once or twice. Hers came up like 3 times, 4 times. And, you know, so for $40.
No, that wasn't ridiculous.
And for $40, you know, we probably made, you know, $80 to $100 that year. So it's fun, and you just get
not for $20. That's not.
yeah, and you get this check in the mail, so you don't even expect it. You don't even have to pay attention to it. You know, the Grand Council keeps track of it. They have a committee that keeps track of all this, so you don't even have to remember what your number is. You just, you know, you're having a tough day, and all of a sudden you get a check in the mail. So this is awesome.
You mentioned the lowest amount. What's the highest amount that you know of that has been paid out by that?
I think it's like Christmas and the 4th of July are like $150 to $200.
That's pretty fun to win.
Yeah.
So, and then the proceeds from this just go right into the nursing scholarship.
Correct.
And keep reloading it every year.
Correct. So that's a totally separate fund from the Grand Council. So all that money gets funneled into the Nurses Scholarship Foundation. So we can use that money then to give back to nurses. So the theory and the whole thing about the Nurses Scholarship is we're raising money to give RNs. So individuals that want to go and get their RN to support them through their work. And the minimum amount that's typically given out is about $1,500, but it can be more. So it just kind of depends on how many applications we have and how much money we have. And I can tell you, we have quite a bit of amount that's been built up. And the amount of scholarships that we've given out more recently has probably been maybe a handful. Talking with most illustrious past Grandmaster Rich Carnell back there, he said they used to give out 15, 20 of them. So
Really?
we would love to give them out. You know, all it takes is an application. We have an application on our website. The big thing is it's a lot of it's word of mouth.
Yeah.
Because we want people to go out there and really talk about it. You know, we don't want to make up posters and say, hey, everybody, come apply for our award. We want people to go out and say, hey, you know, we're this really cool organization, but we got this really neat program.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a strong talking point for membership. Because people ask, well, what's council? Well, we offer these degrees that pair along with this and kind of can really point out this to you and bring a lot of clarity to some of your Blue Lodge degrees. And we have this other cool program that we say, it's awesome.
It is, and you don't even have to have Masonic affiliation. So it's not like, well, I can't be it because my grandfather wasn't a Mason or my father wasn't a Mason. It doesn't matter. If there's somebody that's needy out there that needs some help in their schooling, please apply. We would love to look at their application. We do have a committee that reviews them, but pretty much if they meet the criteria, pretty much they're going to probably get it. So it's a great program. So we use the calendar program is the main fundraiser for the Nurses Scholarship, and then we do various things throughout the year. We have these council ties that we sell. The Grand Council bought a bunch of these purple ties. I don't know, way back when, time immemorial, they bought a bunch of purple ties. I think we've had a truckload of them, but we sell those for $20. That $20 goes right into the Nurses Scholarship. We have every year the Most Illustrious Grand Master tends to make something that they sell. So in the years past, they have done some poker chips that they've sold for $5 or $10. Again, that money goes right back into the Nurses Scholarship. This year, I'm going to try to get some challenge coins made up. I'm a little late getting to them, but I'm going to make up some challenge coins that I'm going to sell. It's not going to have my name on them. That way, if it goes past my term, we can still sell them. It's like, oh, we don't want that Derrik Helfer guy. We got rid of him.
Well, you could put your name on there and just put year served for time.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great idea. Tim would love it.
I mean, that would work for me. I mean, I don't work with the humor, but
that is true. So I'm going to get some of those made up in that way. And again, the whole point is to go out, people sell them, and then all that money will go back.
Which is actually kind of cool. And I'm going to kind of like dwell into a bit of a morbid subject, but we've kind of been like in a weird pandemic for a little bit now. And you guys are backing nurses, and every place you drive past, healthcare workers are heroes now. If from a branding perspective,
that is true.
The council looks pretty solid right now. I don't know.
It does, no, and I'll tell you, one of our weaker points has been fundraising. You know, the chapter does a great job at it, and it's something that I think.
Pat Robbins a gypsy.
Yeah, that guy's amazing. You know, he can sell ice to Eskimos. I'm convinced of it. He's a great sponsor. He's done a great job in the chapter as far as promoting their charities, which is autism. So, you know, in council we haven't been as pushy as a word, but that's something that I know the person coming after me, Tim Ward's really looking into. Is really pushing the fundraising. And this year, I just wanted to get the enthusiasm back in. You know, we're coming off the pandemic. You know, it's hard, but you know, so the hope is that, hey, to get enthusiasm back in the council, get people to see that it's relevant, and then hopefully start taking some next steps.
So something I don't know, and I know the way the York Rite is currently structured, the Royal Arch is the first step, council would be the second, and then commander would be the third, but you don't necessarily have to be in council to join commander.
This is correct.
Was that always like that?
No, it kind of depends. So, of course, commandery takes their lead from the Grand Encampment.
Okay.
The Grand Council and the Grand Chapter more or less are sovereign bodies. So we can, we can make up our own rules if you want to say that. If as long as we have agreement. But
as many calendars as you want.
Exactly, we can come up with something else. Yeah. But the commandery has to go by the Grand Encampment and their rules. So the Grand Encampment rules, to my knowledge, only include Royal Arch Mason. Now there has been talk about including council on that, but as far as I know, it still has not gone through Grand Encampment to make it official.
If I was in your shoes, I'd be petitioning for that all day.
So there are some states that I believe actually do it, that actually require the council membership to become a Knight Templar. Illinois is just not one of those. Now, if I could talk the Grand Commandery into doing that, I would love it. But again, it's the way I view it is, if you're doing it for the right reasons, because you're doing it for the search for light and not just another sticker, you're going to join it anyway.
I mean, realistically, the way that if I cheated myself on those for silly reasons, I'd be upset. Knowing what I know now, really how cool they are.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the story behind it, and where kind of the council fits into it.
Okay.
Yeah, wasn't there just a vote this past grand session to try and get council to be the second step in the York Rite, at least here in Illinois,
yes,
to
sir.
go on to be a commander member?
So there was a push for not requiring Royal Arch membership to be a council member. So that way, if people if somebody was raised to be a Master Mason, they could go out and join the council right away if they wanted to.
So what was the reasoning behind that?
So part of the push was, again, it's everybody wants to try to get members. And so, because Freemasonry overall is declining, we all know that. But there's kind of been a resurgence lately.
If you know Marty is not declining, because he can ask you to join every time.
But no, and that's great, and that's what I'd love to see, but there seems to be a resurgence here lately. And, you want to grab those people while they're enthused. Well, I can grab them, but I say, well, you got to go join this other group first, and then you can join me. And so there was a push to say, let's think about this. Let's grab these people all together, and that way I don't have to send them off to a chapter first to get their degree, and then come to my organization. But like I said, I can see it both ways. My main support is, again, if you're doing it for the right reasons, you're going to join it anyway. If it's just another notch in your Masonic journey because you want to see all the degrees, you want to get all the awards, if that's your purpose, that's your purpose. But if you do it, in my mind, for the right reasons, you're going to do it anyway. But that was the push behind it. Now, there's been a push also to try to convince the commandery to add the council requirement, whether it happens or not.
All these pushes, though, they pop up. All these ever really amount to, this is with Blue Lodge, everything else, is, all right, cool, have a good 45 minutes of interesting arguments in the grand session, then we go to lunch. Like, we'll get the business we actually have to get done. Some crazy guy's going to go off the rails about something. And then we yell about that for an hour. And then, cool, it's lunch. Then I might as well go take a nap and go to the banquet and start hitting the bars again. That's how every grand session goes.
Yeah, no, and that's what. And so we're trying to get away from that. And I think really trying to get the council, commandery, and chapter together to work together as a united York Rite. That really started in Larry Ragland's year with Enrique, and they were really trying to get that bond back together and have the bodies feed off each other. Now, whether we start making prerequisites for this or prerequisites that, to me, it doesn't really matter. It's a matter of those three organizations working together. Because in that way, the more people you have, the stronger you can be. And so I think that's the right way to go, whether you have prerequisites or not.
So, council obviously being in your favor, the way you speak.
Just a little bit.
What lessons from council has affected your life the most?
Just, one of the themes that they talk about in the council is just, the theme of death and the theme of there's something after death. You learn that, you kind of hear that in the Blue Lodge. And again, you hear that in the chapter, but really in the council, to me, it's very solemn. And, it's very quiet. Again, there's very few people in a council degree. There's only 5, 6 cast members, so there's not very big cast. And, they're supposed to be just, solemn, intimate degrees, and where you really hear that wording, and you listen to Hiram Abiff as he walks around, and, you really start to think about, hey, if things don't go my way, and, at some point, I'm going to pass away, I want to preserve things for future generations. I want to make sure that the people behind me have something. And so that's, like I said, I just really like I really like the degrees.
That was another part that really hit me today, and I was thinking of looking at it. And I've been trying to really look at Masonry through a more modern lens.
Sure.
Because sometimes I think our antiquity kind of
It
hurts the
does.
conversations. When I'm like, people are like, guys, stop talking about George Washington. Like, Shaq is the Mason now. Like, it's Shaq. Old Shaq. Old Shaq. And Brad Hayes. But there's a lot of current people. Like, we don't always have to look, hey, look, George Washington.
Yeah.
That was great. I saw Hamilton too. But either way. but no, but even in that scene when he's walking, talking, and that hour and all that, that's almost what man advances in any professional world. That whole scene holds a lot of things. I'm just looking at that. He pretty much took a few minutes on lunch break to get to know someone who could teach him something.
Yep.
We can all use that.
Exactly. And so yeah, like I said, I mean they're shorter degrees. They're not very long, but it just has a great message. And I love all degrees. The Order of the Temple, probably one of the best things I've ever seen. And again, I'm not taking anything away from that, but the council degrees, like I said, short length, very solemn, very great message. So again, a little bit the underdog, and kind of enjoy it. Really enjoy it.
Which one do you like better, the 8th or 9th?
I actually, to tell you the truth, you got to see the Super Excellent. Now they say they got the Chicago version of it. That's a lot more elaborate.
Okay, today is the first time I've heard that phrase, the Chicago version of the Super Excellent.
Maybe it's one of those time immemorial things. There's a Chicago version.
It was here before Chicago.
But yeah, so it's the Super Excellent degree. The main theme behind it is the Babylonian captivity, where Nebuchadnezzar comes down and pretty much destroys Jerusalem, and so you're taking away, so you're destroying the first temple, and you're taking all the treasures away. And the degree, and at least the ceremony that we put on using the ritual from the General Grand Council, it has a very good message to it, and it just teaches that you have to honor your word. And in that one, and it's all from the Bible. Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon, and he put Zedekiah, the king of Judah, in charge, and Zedekiah was pretty bad. And didn't listen to Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar said, you know what, that's it. You're gone, I'm wiping you off the map. And that's what he did. So I can imagine being able to put that on with some really cool stuff, and apparently that's what the Chicago style is. We probably do the more watered-down version of that.
So now does the audience have to join council to see that now, or did you just explain it all?
No, you have to join it. Like I said, the reason that it's kind of an honorary degree and not practiced very often, it doesn't really fit with the preservation of the work very well at all.
I've heard that.
Yeah, so that's why it's kind of a separate entity. And again, it's all in the Bible, the entire story. There's really not a Masonic secret to it. Now, there is a secret section of it. Of course, every Masonic thing that you join, there's a grip and a do guard and all that stuff. But really, the story and everything is really taken from the Bible. It's the destruction of the first temple.
So, funny thing, before we started everything today, we had to have a short little meeting in the hallway because none of us can remember the 7th degree do guard sign.
No, that's
so. Is that a usual thing that you find out in council?
We do. I'm hoping we're coming through a revitalization of the council.
Oh, I see.
I think there's been some councils that have been dormant. So there's been people that have been meeting, but they haven't been doing the work. Yeah. And so and it's almost like doing that rusty nail degree that you have in the. I don't know if you guys have that up here. Yeah. So every now and again, down in the South, we'll have a rusty nail degree for the Blue Lodge, where you go in and you remember all the do guards and signs. It's sort of the same thing for the council. I mean, if you don't do it, you forget it.
Honestly, Royal Orange put me on the spot. It's the only one I probably could pull off the top of my head. It usually takes me a second. But the Blue Lodge ones I can do at any moment.
speaking of the Royal Arts ones, you go through the chapter degrees. I'm pretty good with the Royal Arts one, but then you get me to the Mark Master and the Past Master. I'm like, I got to think about those. I haven't done those since I've had the degree or seen them put on.
You never do business on
Yeah,
them. So
exactly.
you get them at your degree days, and then once you go to your chapter, you do it again.
So that's some of the fun is going back and remembering that stuff. I enjoy that.
Well, because chapter we're opening on the 7th all the time for meetings.
Yep.
And,
Which is the only degree we can do business on.
right. And council, it's the 9th.
Yep.
So I'm like, I didn't know the 9th, but 8th.
No,
I have no idea.
the Royal Master degrees.
And then when I see somebody do it right, I'm like, no, that's not the right.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, like no, it's gotta be something different.
No, I really enjoy the Royal Master degree. If I had a preference between the two, I might be slightly edged down to the. If I had to choose between the two, the Royal, just because again, it's you don't see it as much, like you said. You don't get to do guard and sign, but just the simple message and then the words that Hiram Abiff talks about in that degree is huge.
Did you have something? Oh, I thought you were just going to say something. Okay, so since we reinvigorated a council, DuPage Council as its name, how would somebody go about starting a council? Like if somebody in Illinois or another state wants to start a council, other than being a chapter member, how do they go about that process?
Just look in the Grand Council bylaws. So.
And they're all on the website,
Yeah.
cm-io.org.
Exactly. So, here in Illinois, again, as Marty just said, you go to our Grand Council website, you go to the bylaws, and it shows you right there. You go to the section that says starting up a new council, and it lists every step that you need to go through.
What's the minimum number?
If I had to go back, and I have to remember, but I think it's 15. I believe it's 15 that you have to have.
Now, when we were talking about this a couple months ago, we weren't sure. This is before any of us looked into bylaws or anything like that. Do you need a certain amount of past thrice illustrious to start a council?
I don't think so. I think more or less is you need 15 regular members. And the one question that came about, and I think when Marty started looking at this, was saying, well, we have 10, but then we have 5 candidates that we want to make members. Is that included in the 15, or do you need 15 plus those 5? And like, that's a darn good question.
Yeah.
And again, bylaws aren't written to cover every single situation out there. So I started looking at it and saying, well, I think we can, but again, and that's where working with the most illustrious Grand Master, me or whoever else it would be moving on, you could work with them and say, hey, can we do this? Because the bylaws don't exactly say and spit out every single thing you need to do. So there's a little bit of a gray area there.
I will say though, from someone who was started looking at reviving one, then to kind of taking one over that's stagnant, that was the right option.
It was, and again, like you said, it's why bring one back, which is great. I'd love to revive every council that we've ever had that close, but then why let a council continue to struggle?
Well, exactly.
And it's like they're trying to meet, they're trying to do the right thing, but if there's only 2 active people, there's only so much you can do. And so. Why let them struggle when you can get a new group that comes in and says, hey guys, let us, we want to kind of put our own little twist on it, but hey, you're welcome to come back and be members of us, and, and hopefully we see this thing live on. And that's what I hope happens here. And so far it sounds like what's going to happen.
I hope it happens a ton more. And if, you're at home watching this, and you're in Illinois or any other state, there's a council somewhere near you, and maybe you've heard of it, maybe you know what they mean, get a hold of them, and if you get a handful of guys together, I guarantee your Grand Council is going to back you and to turn this into everything it could be.
Exactly, and that's where you want to be. I mean, and I'll admit, here at Indicator, we're struggling a little bit. We're, like I said, we struggle to open, trying to get 5 people to open up, and we don't want to merge with anybody because we have this nice, beautiful building that we don't want to move out of because we're the last Masonic body to be in it, and
you're the last people.
We're the last people in the building. My Blue Lodge was in there, and we moved out. Some of it was for various different reasons, but right now the only Masonic body that meets at that temple is the York Rite bodies. And
really?
if we leave, there is no more Masonic bodies in that building.
That is one of the last great buildings in Illinois. So you hold on to that, good sir.
So we're trying to hold on to it, but again, when you have a 100-year-old building, you have 100 million maintenance problems, and so it takes a small fortune to run a place. And I think that's one of the advantages with you guys joining here is all these different banners that I'm seeing in front of me. you know, all these different groups that meet here, you know, this building's getting used. You know, we use our building once a month, and then it sits there vacant for 29 days, unless we're renting out the basement or whatnot. So, you know, it's just,
that comes with its own bit. Because, you know, even my lodge, it's like, well, maybe we can bring people in to use the, you know, the food hall side. I'm like, dude, tell them gotta clean. The guy over there gotta do.
Right.
so, you know,
Pack the building full of Masons.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what we would love to do. And, you know, as Freemasons, you know, we're not party planners. You know, so to be master party planners and say, hey, you know, we're going to plan all these events for you and try to rent this room out, you know, that's just not our strength.
No.
And, you know, unfortunately, that's what it's become in Decatur is, you know, we have to do that just to keep the building going.
Of course.
And, you know, so our Yorkite, which is struggling to a degree, you know, we really don't want to leave because, again, we leave that, we lose that building, we lose the Masonic portion of that building.
Who actually owns it?
It's the Decatur Masonic Temple Association. So it used to be made up of the members, the groups that met there.
Yeah, well, you generally would appoint one person from each group to serve, like a homeowner association.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was the group that actually owned it.
Okay.
And all of us were members. And then slowly groups have left. Some of them merged together. So My Blue Lodge is a conglomerate of like 3 or 4 different lodges that had joined together. And then another one moved out and bought their own building because it was easier to maintain. And then our Yorkite, that was made up of those members, of course, now that everybody's merged and gone, when they merged, some people left and didn't want to come back. And so slowly we've just kind of gone this downhill. Every now and again we come up a little bit, and then we go back down. So hopefully we're coming back up again. But, you know, there's a lot of lodges in that same realm where you have all this history in this building and all this stuff that you've done over the years, and you guys are you're the keepers of that, and you want to keep it going. But at some point you gotta make that hard decision of there's no way we can do this. And I really like what you guys have here is, you know, you have a building that has life in it and fun, and that's not what we have right now. We just have a building that, you know, occasionally that we meet in, but most of the time it's cold and dark. So,
yeah, unfortunately, in this day and age, it's been happening. It's an unfortunate thing, but hopefully, with everybody seeing this, you know, it'll reinvigorate some guys to join council or to get back into council.
Exactly, you know, or Freemasonry, you know, come back to your Blue Lodge. You know, again, it doesn't matter if you don't remember the New Garden Science Group. Somebody's going to remind you. And I think people still have this image, and it used to be that way. When I joined, it was a little bit that way. You know, you have some older gentlemen that sit on the sides and, you know, they like to criticize, but to me, I don't take it as a negative. They're trying to show me the right way to do it. And, you know, so I don't take that as offense. And I think some people get turned off from that. And so they leave, and then they decide, well, it's not worth it because somebody's just going to yell at me. And so I think a little bit of that's going away, but what I would encourage people to do is say, come back. We'd love to have you. We'll explain everything to you. Like I said, if somebody doesn't know a New Garden sign, I can walk you out in the back, show you in 30 seconds how to do something. So, you know, it's no big deal. We just want a body. We want somebody to come in and participate and have fun.
Great. Well, this is going to be the end of the interview, unfortunately, but it's been great having you. I hope to have you back, and you know,
let's do like a marathon shoot over at the Decatur building. Let's invite a couple other podcasts. Let's do like a whole podcast day in there. We can bring a small audience.
It would be.
Yeah, we can do that.
Can we do that?
Yeah, it'd be awesome. No, we have
All right, Keepers of the Word.
Yeah.
All the other ones. We're meeting in Decatur. Masonic Podcast Fest was announced here.
We have a gigantic auditorium that seats, I think it seats 1,200 people.
Well, we're bringing like 50.
But no, you can set up in the middle of that and you just have this huge room behind you. There's, like I said, there's 3 lodge rooms in there. There's tons of space. And like I said, I really love our temple. Like I said, unfortunately, it's just a 100-year-old building that has 100-year-old problems. And so, but yeah, you guys are more than welcome to come down. We'll just make sure that nobody's renting that day. But yeah, come on down.
We'll have a conversation. We heard it here first. It's going to happen.
We'll try. So, all right. Once again, thanks for coming out.
Thanks,
everybody. Thanks for watching, and get to your council. Reinvigorate that.
Come on in. We'll take it.
Everyone, take care and.